When you say intimacy to people, they assume you're asking about their sex life. They might back up or they might start acting like they're shy. Be sure to stick around until the end because today we're going to discuss how you can level up the intimacy in your interracial relationship. Now, we will not be talking about your sex life. So if you need assistance in your sex life, then go ahead and make sure that you connect with a sex therapist. Welcome to Ask the Loveologist. I'm April, your favorite loveologist. I'm a certified matchmaker, a certified love coach, and the president and CEO at Authentic Love, where interracial relationships are our number one priority. So, why do you need to develop intimacy? To build a stronger bond and higher levels of trust, to have more meaningful and fulfilling and productive conversations. Your level of intimacy is what allows you to actually be that couple that completes each other's sentences. It helps you speak for your partner, even when your partner is absent, and you can still be accurate in your statements. So I found this article, and the title of it is The 5 Types of Intimacy Every Healthy Relationship Needs. And it's on All Points North. And I did not find author's name on it. But I want to go through these and share them with you and relate them to your interracial relationship. The first one here is emotional intimacy. Now, in the article, it says it's more than just saying how you feel. Emotional intimacy requires trust and willingness to be open and vulnerable in expressing deeper thoughts, feelings, and needs. Emotional intimacy is to share about your childhood or something personal. It's essential to practice emotional intimacy outside of moments of crisis so that when something big happens, you and your partner have established enough trust, vulnerability, and awareness to support each other. So I want you to be aware that it may look like I'm reading, but I'm going to be reading several things because I said this is an article that I found. One of the things that I usually share with you when it comes to interracial relationships is that you want to make sure that you're getting to know each other before introducing others into your relationship. And see, that goes along with this where she's talking about building this trust and being vulnerable and being and raising awareness so that you support each other. And also, when you're building this trust and you're sharing things about you, it helps you to be comfortable and know that your partner is going to defend you even when it comes to your friends and your relatives. And that's part of that building that intimacy and getting to know each other and knowing that you have each other's back. I was watching this video the other day, and the gentleman was Indian and the young lady was African. And when he first took her to meet his family, they just were a no on the whole situation. But what she said was that he actually put his foot down and defended her and still chose her. So when he did that, whatever the family was saying to her about her, she said it just did not affect her because she knew that this man had her back. And she was like, she knew that she could not change their thoughts or their words, but what she chose to do was not allow them to affect her. So when you're developing your intimacy and you're getting to know each other and you're sharing things about each other, you're being vulnerable, you're sharing the stories with each other, that is an avenue of increasing the level of intimacy in your relationship. Intellectual intimacy. This is having a healthy curiosity and learning from each other. Healthy intellectual intimacy is characterized by feeling safe to discuss various topics and share your views and perspectives while being open to different perspectives. So this is a time that when you're just having conversation and you're both nice and calm, and one person is asking the other person questions about their culture, about how they feel about things. So asking questions about the different stereotypes. I know I saw this young lady the other day, and she was talking about how, especially in the beginning of their relationship, she was asking her partner a lot of questions about different stereotypes because she didn't understand them and she didn't want to be offensive, especially to him. So this is a part of this healthy intellectual intimacy, asking questions about different stereotypes. You might ask something, so, there's your culture and my culture. Why is there always a clash between the two cultures? Do you know anything about the history about that? And I want you to also remember that in any relationship, regardless to what cultures are involved, remember that communication is a master key to having a good relationship that has much, much longevity. Again, we're talking about developing healthy intellectual intimacy here. You can also say things like, I've heard that Australians don't like to kill spiders and allow them to just stay on the wall. I kind of don't like that. What is your culture's views about that? Why does that happen? But remember also, when you're asking these questions, you're not asking them with attitude. You're asking these questions in a way of learning and being vulnerable. And just getting to know people and know their culture will definitely increase the intimacy in your relationship. Here's another thing that you can ask that would help with this healthy intellectual. Why do Asian men compare themselves to African American men? I like your height, I like your build, and I think you're fine. And you can ask them to explain that to you so you can understand that. Another thing about this healthy intellectual intimacy is that if your mate has lived their entire life in a world of privilege and they have no idea about any type of discrimination or being treated differently at all, not even anything happening with their family members, they may have many questions and they may ask you things about, what things make you angry or what type of things might make you sad or cry. And it's up to you to also open the door and provide a safe environment for your partner, and by explaining answers to some of their questions and being calm and having a calm tone. Because a lot of times when people are asking things, they're not doing it to be facetious. They're doing it because they really don't know and don't understand. And just be aware that, when you're having some of these conversations, emotions might elevate, but just remember that they're not usually directed to you. They probably have something to do with something in culture or something that has happened in history. So again, the foundation to all of these things and to help you have a higher level of intimacy is having that open, calm communication. So far we've covered emotional intimacy. We've covered intellectual intimacy. Now I'm going to take a moment here and check over here and look at the comments, see if we have any comments over there. Thank you all for coming back. Since we had to start over, I apologize. If you've not heard about this yet, we have a newsletter that we're putting out now, and it's called the Interracial Love Chronicles. And we typically send those out twice a month. And if you sign up now, which would be the off week, then we will actually send you a copy of the previous one so that you don't have to wait. And we'll send you a copy of the new one that's coming out as well. And that way you would be on the list to actually receive them twice a month. So again, that's the Interracial Love Chronicles, and people seem to be really enjoying those. So go ahead and sign up for that so that you can start receiving your copy. Another thing that we have going on here at Authentic Love is June marks Loving Month. And Loving Month is the month that interracial marriage was legalized in the United States. So we're going to start Loving Month off with a interview with Frances Fomé on her show called Fran and Friends. You can find it on YouTube, but you want to make sure that you put Frances Fomé, and it's spelled Fomai, in your search bar, because if you put Fran and Friends in, you're going to get a whole lot of stuff. But I will be getting interviewed on there, and we'll be talking about interracial relationships on the 1st, which is Saturday the 1st. And also on that same day, I will be going live, and I will be talking about Loving Month, what it's about, and some of the things that you can expect to happen during Loving Month. I'm excited about it. This will be our 2nd year doing it. And when we did it the first time, we interviewed several couples. And one couple had been married for 4 decades. We interviewed another couple that actually lived in Colombia. They were actually in Colombia when we were interviewing them. And we interviewed a couple that had a blended family. So we learned a lot in those interviews. And I hope that you will join us and participate by asking questions. But yes, the month of June is something that we are just really, really excited about here at Authentic Love. And we want you to join in with us. We do that throughout the month. And then when we get close to the end of the month of June, we have what we call a celebration of life. And that's something that you don't want to miss as well, because this is something where you'll learn a lot of things about Authentic Love and what we do. So I'm going to look over here again and see about comments. Thank you so much for putting all those notes in there. Thank you very much. Let's go on and move to spiritual intimacy. In the article, it says, generally, spiritual intimacy is the degree to which you and your partner share your thoughts, feelings, beliefs, and experiences about religion, spirituality, moral values, life after death, and other related issues. It's not always about religion. It encompasses your connection to something larger than yourself. The goal isn't to agree entirely, but to have a healthy awareness of your partner's beliefs and to feel safe expressing your own. When it comes to spiritual intimacy, I was really, really thinking about this, because I was like, this could be something I could probably talk about for 2 or 3 days. But I came up with a couple of things that I wanted to bring to your attention. You know, in some cultures, alcohol is something that is discussed, or I don't know, it has taboos around it and stuff. So when you're communicating with your partner and you're wanting to level up on that spiritual intimacy, here's something that you might want to inquire about. What are your thoughts about alcohol consumption? The Baha'i faith And Buddhists typically do not consume alcohol unless it's for certain ceremonies. And this is all a part of you understanding your partner even more. Understanding why they do some of the things that they do that may be different to you, or you might consider them odd. Because these days here in the United States, people consuming alcohol just seems to be a no-brainer. But when it comes to people's spiritual lives or their religious lives, this can be a big issue. Another thing that I find really interesting when it comes to spiritual intimacy and understanding it is head coverings. Now, I recently had to get a little education on this myself because I had been seeing people wearing the hijab. I hope I said that right. And if I didn't, please don't crucify me. But I have seen a lot of people wearing the hijab, and I didn't understand why they were wearing it because I knew that they were not from that culture, but I saw them wearing one, and so I inquired. And what I learned was this is actually worn because in the presence, let me back that up. Women wear this because in the presence of, they may feel that they're going to be in the presence of men who are not their husband, son, father, or nephew, or other blood relative. And it is a symbol of modesty, privacy, and morality. And one of the things that you want to understand about being in an interracial relationship and a woman who wears this hijab and she's wearing it all the time, I won't say all the time, but most of the time, particularly out in public, a conversation about this, about her not wearing it or not wearing it anymore, can become a educational, deep, and emotional conversation. So again, I want to impress upon you that if you decide that you want to have this conversation, or you're with a gentleman and you wear the hijab, then you want to be open and ready to explain some things to him about it if he's inquiring about it. Or maybe you might feel that you just simply need to explain a few things about it. And I see here there's a note that says it can also show honor to an older man. So seeing that comment, I know exactly what she's talking about. If you're at home and you're dating a woman who actually wears the hijab, and an older man comes in the room, she might go and put it on if she didn't have it on because she was in the presence of family members. So it is an avenue of showing respect to an older man as well. All right, now get ready. This is your laugh for today. This is your laugh for the day. This is something that I just learned, and I've really been Black African American all my 63 years, and I just learned this, okay? As I was doing the research for this, one of the things that came to my mind was my own culture and some religious things that I thought was interesting. So this is one of the reasons why I tell you to make sure that you know about your own religious preferences and your own religious cultural rituals, etc., etc. We were talking about the hijab, which is a head covering. And so it came to my mind, what's the big deal in my own culture about wearing those big hats? And I called it the big church hat. And I was like, why? It was just interesting to me because as I was thinking about it, I was like, you hardly ever see these women wearing these big church hats except when they're going to church. So this is what I discovered when you see women who are in the Christian religion wearing the big hats. They are trying to honor in the Bible 1 Corinthians 11:5. And it says, every wife who prays or prophesies with her head uncovered dishonors her head, since it is the same as if her head was shaven. Now, I know I said wife because that's what the scripture says, but what I have seen is just women in general, married or not, wearing the big hat on Sunday. And I also learned that there are some women, because they are honoring this scripture, who will not go to church or to a church event without wearing a hat. And I just found this very, very interesting and very educational. But there's only a few denominations who actually stick to that. And what I've discovered, what I remember seeing, is that everybody is not required to do this. But that is something that is birthed from a Bible verse. Now, my opinion right now is that the wearing of the big hats in church has become a fashion statement, I believe. So that's just my personal thoughts. But I'm putting this out there so that you can get a feel of some of the things that are going on in people's culture, in their mind, especially when they see things that are a bit odd to them or different to them. But this is how you build and you level up that intimacy by getting to know each other. And before we end, I'm going to share with you some of the benefits of leveling up the intimacy. Another thing when it comes to spiritual intimacy that you may want to have a conversation about, you may not have this conversation early on in your relationship, but as your relationship gets stronger and you're getting closer and you might be thinking about tying a knot, you might want to have a discussion on life after death. There are some cultures who believe that you keep having a rebirth. Some don't. The thing is, when you know what a person believes about different things or their thoughts about different things, you have a tendency to respect them, honor them in what they believe. And I may not be using the right terminology here, but you begin to treat them in a certain way in accordance to the things that they believe. And like I said earlier, so that you're not doing something that insults a person or angers them. Now, I'm not saying walk around on eggshells, okay? Here's another one, social intimacy. In the article, it says social intimacy is the degree to which you and your partner share each other's interests and spend time together as a couple. Social intimacy is about spending time together doing fun things, balanced with individual time. You need both. See, this right here is where you want to keep in mind that when you get into a new relationship, you don't want to just spend all your time with your new partner. You also need to make sure that you maintain your friends that you had before and that you also spend some time with them. But this social intimacy is about spending time together, doing fun things, balanced with individual time. If you've been listening to me for a while, you've also heard me talk about different types of dates that you can have, especially those first 3 dates. You know, do you want a mini date? And a mini date can be going out and just having fun. And those are some of the things that you want to think about. You know, when you first meet somebody and you first start dating them, you learn a few things about what they like to do or what their interests are. But as you continue to develop your relationship and you want to increase the intimacy, something you can do that's really good and helpful is think about some of the things this person may have said as their goals. For instance, they may have said that they wanted to lose some weight. What you can do to support them is go work out with them at the gym. Or if they're going and taking some type of exercise like Pilates or swimming, whatever, go do it with them. Other things that can help you with this social intimacy that you can go out and do together, especially if it's that person's goal, maybe not your goal. How about learning martial arts together? Getting a pilot's license together? Going scuba diving together? Learning to play chess or golf or some other type of game that you can play together that might even involve other people. But this is part of leveling up this social intimacy where you're doing things together, you're enjoying things together, but at the same time, you also go and do some separate things. And I'm going to tell you, that is really what makes dating a lot of fun. And it makes you get to understand a person, whether, what you're doing turns out to be something that has a little pressure to it, because I'd say getting a pilot's license might have a little bit of pressure to it. And you can get to experience your person in different types of environments and see how they feel and respond to different things. Now, in the beginning, I shared that we weren't going to talk about sex, but we're going to talk about physical intimacy. She said physical intimacy includes affectionate touching, such as holding hands, hugs, kissing, cuddling. Physical intimacy can change over time and wax and wane through different seasons. When I was reading it, I was thinking about, as we grow older, our body goes through changes. Our mind may start thinking about other things because other things become priority to you. And it's nice to know that you have someone there to hold your hand or to give you a hug in different situations. And just cuddling helps you to just feel close to the person. And actually, I hope that all of these things that I've shared with you about leveling up your intimacy are things that are going to help you feel closer to the person or closer to your partner and help you feel more connected to them. She also said that intimacy doesn't necessarily happen overnight. It is a closeness built over time by the experiences and interactions that two people share. Intimacy is about consistency. I'm going to say that again. Intimacy is about consistency. And as we know, consistency is something that helps build the trust in the relationship. I see a note over here. It says it can also encompass having deep conversations with your mate. And this is true. It just helps you to have deeper, fuller conversations. Because I know for me, I am a question person. If we touch on a topic and you say something that triggers another question, I'm the 5-question queen. So I do like deep conversations. I like learning new things. So yes, you want to make sure that you have this physical intimacy. It helps you to also, I don't know how I want to say this because I don't have this written down. It helps you to be in sync with each other on many different levels and many different things. Sex should not be the main focus of your intimacy in your relationship. Make sure that you're including these other types of intimacy, because the ones that I've talked to about today, the ones that I've talked to you about today actually add longevity to your relationship. You want to make sure that you stay abreast of these areas because they can help you give more meaningful gifts. For instance, if you know what the person likes, what they don't like, because you spent that time having communications, then you'll be able to get more meaningful gifts as well as having more meaningful conversations. You'll be able to plan more meaningful outings, dates, and events. So these are just some of the benefits of leveling up the intimacy in your relationship that you can receive. You both feel heard and understood when you have a higher level of intimacy. It also leads to you being relaxed, and you can actually be yourself and just really communicate the way that you need to communicate. Even if you are having a disagreement, when you have a good level of intimacy and you know each other, this will help you communicate your differences or your disagreement on the subject and still not be going after each other like, I don't know, like cats or like animals, and not be yelling at each other. So what I want to say to you, bottom line to all the stuff that I've shared today, is this. Make it a priority to level up the intimacy in your relationship so that you can be in sync with each other, so you can know that you have each other's back, so that you can feel heard, so that you can feel like you can trust the person more and they can trust you more. Because without a good, healthy level of intimacy, the things that you don't want to creep into your relationship will come in and start taking your relationship in the wrong direction. So I'm going to look over here and see if there's any more comments or questions. Again, if you're interested in finding this article, it's the 5 types of intimacy every healthy relationship needs. And it was on All Points North. And remember, we have our Interracial Love Chronicles that's available for you if you like to get even more tips on dating and being in an interracial relationship. And there's the information there at the bottom of the screen. And we'll be celebrating Loving Month next month, starting on June 1st. And if I'm not mistaken, that would be in just a few days. I'm excited about it and can't wait to get to it. So we should have a pretty good lineup available for you. Well, again, I'm April, the LOVEologist. I'm a certified matchmaker, certified love coach. I'm the president and CEO at Authentic Love, where interracial relationships are our #1 priority. I look forward to seeing you again here on Ask the LOVEologist next Monday at 6 p.m. Central, 7 p.m. Eastern. Be sure you bring a friend and don't forget to sign up for those Interracial Love Chronicles. Bye-bye now.